Great. Thank you for coming to this Facebook Live event. I'm really excited. This is my first time trying Facebook Live, so please bear with me as I learn how to do this. It will get better, I'm sure, but there's always some energy around doing something the first time and new. So let me first introduce myself. My name is Felicia. I'm a coaching supervisor based in Singapore. I've been coaching for 12 years, and I've been supervising other coaches for a coaching company since 2010. So that makes 9-10 years of coaching supervision. I'm really honored, and thank you ACSM for inviting me to come and share my thoughts. And perhaps I love to share some stories around coaching supervision, so to help generally coaches to understand more what coaching supervision is about. So my intention tonight is really to share stories, my personal opinions about coaching supervision, so that you have a better understanding of it. So that's my intention. And apart from being an executive coach for the last 12 years, I'm also a training director at International Coach Academy, as well as I'm a senior faculty at CSA, who is Coaching Supervision Academy. We are a global leading institute or training institute for teaching or training coaching supervisors. So there we are. That's where I am. I'm an ICF PCC with more than 3,000 hours of coaching time, practice time, as well as I'm also an EMCC accredited supervisor. So telling you all that just means that how passionate I am about coaching and about the coaching profession. So that's the intention of sharing that with you. So before we carry out, I was thinking I could do the official definition of coaching supervision, but I thought, what the heck, you can look it up, you can Google it up. So my intention tonight of bringing thank you for the laughter, for bringing coaching supervision is to just share with you as a fellow coach practitioner why I care about it, why I do it, and what are some of the themes, stories that I see both in my own practice as well as when I'm supervising others. That's just to help you have a more grounded feel of what supervision is, because theory is one thing. Let's talk reality. So that's who I am. I'm quite a pragmatic person. So to me, coaching supervision, you may have heard it, for me, is all about learning. Because one of the things we know about, thank you, Marianne. I'm trying to read the post and trying to talk to you at the same time. It's a little bit weird, so bear with me. So coaching supervision to me is important. First and foremost, let's set the ground straight, which is coaching right now is not a regulated profession, which means that the onus is on us as professional coaches to regulate ourselves, to almost be responsible for our own coaching practice. And the backdrop of coaching is that the world is what we call VUCA, but I like to see it more as it's progressive, it's growing, it's changing, and it's complex. So being a professional coach, working with other people in such a complex environment, gives rise to a lot of challenges for us to continue to be, on top of our own game, be often ready, be professional. So actually, there's a lot of demands on us as professional coaches. So why? I mean, why do we even why do we care about our practice? So maybe what I can ask, I have a few people with me online right now. Why do you care about your own coaching practice? Do you care to share with me on the chat box? Well, while I let you guys continue to type your comments, I will carry on why I care about my profession as a coach. First thing first, I care about delivering consistent service to all my clients, especially across all my clients and across all the different ways I'm working with my clients. As an executive coach in this environment, sometimes we are a facilitator, sometimes we're working in a one-to-one, sometimes we're working with a team. So that complexity itself and wanting to provide a consistent service across all the different parameters and setups of programs that we work on is actually quite a daunting task. So I think this is Virginia. Virginia was saying, oh no, I don't know who this is, but we have an impact on others, so we need to keep being ethical and having a positive influence. Yes, that's why we care about our profession as well. So we're talking about the different modes, the different ways of working, and I want to be able to, as a professional coach, I want to be able to provide consistent quality service that has a positive impact. Thank you for helping me find that phrase. The other thing I care about professionally as an individual is that I want to deepen and expand my own coaching, skills, capabilities, techniques, whatever you call it, so that I can be more effective when I'm working with my client. Okay, so that's my other thing that I care about. And the third thing, last but not least, I care about my own well-being. As coaches, we often look after and support our coaches to be the best of themselves. I think we need to do the same for ourselves, even more importantly, because we can then positively, influence the people and show a role model of how we look after ourselves. Hi, Robin, welcome. So that's the three things why I care about supervision, why I, actually do supervision and go for supervision myself. So I'm going to pause again. Is there any other thoughts around why you care about your own supervision, about your own coaching practice? Okay, there's a slight delay in comments, so I'll come back to it later on. Virginie, yes, I see that. As a coach, we need to support groups to maintain consistent work standards. Yes, so consistency of service, quality of service, our well-being. Actually, we are in the center of all these activities. What is consistent and common across all the clients that we work with is ourselves. So I can't stress enough how much we need to look after ourselves and make sure that we're well oiled and we're fit for practice every time, we come for a coaching session or we start working with people. So we've talked a little bit about the why coaching supervision is important to me, why I care about it. Marianne also say, we also care to keep our reputation as a trusted coach. Thank you. And supervision is important to take care of ourselves as coaches. Yes, that's what I just said. I want to go back to the point around what Marianne is saying. We care about our reputation as trusted coaches. As I was saying earlier, that this profession at the moment is not regulated. So we're working based a lot on personal credibility. If we work with an organization, it's organizational credibility. So more and more organizations or if clients who are paying, how do they know that they're working with someone who can give them a service that's of quality and a service that's, that you have trained for it and that you can really provide the support that you say you're going to support them as a coach. So that's really important. Yeah. So we talked about the why. Let's talk about the how. How do we actually do that in coaching supervision? And maybe some of you may be thinking, how is that different from mentoring? Well, in the strictest definition, mentoring in the ICF definition is about upskilling, is about developing our competencies as coaches, our skills, our techniques. All this goes underneath the 11 competencies of ICF competencies. How do we get better at that? Coaching supervision is slightly more, where The first part of it is normative, where we are looking at quality assurance of our service. We're also looking at the ethical boundaries. When we're working with people, and especially in a complex environment that we get into, we are invited into people's lives, into people's stories that they may or may not tell others. So when we work with people in coaching, we're working at quite an intimate level. And the information that we're exposed to, the relationship we are exposed to, or we have the privilege to be exposed to, can create a lot of uncertainties, can create a lot of ambiguity. So that's where it is. And then formative is about interventions, the strategies we use. This area is where, I would think coach mentoring would play a larger role in terms of looking at what questions you ask, how did you intervene when a client say this, so all the actual what you do during the session as well. The last one is restorative, where Virginia was talking about we need to look after ourselves. How do we make sure that when we go from client to client, conversations to conversations, we are still ready, we are still in reset to take on or to come into a new conversational dialogue with our client. So that's the restorative part. So how we do it is really creating a safe space where we can both, the supervisor and the coach, can both go into what I call a deep dialogue around and reflecting about what has happened, what the coach is feeling, learning from it, learning from their own experience. So reflection is really an important part of our practice to upkeep ourselves. And reflective with someone else in supervision just means that you have a more objective perspective with you, possibly someone with more experience handling more different situations. They may be able to give you a little different perspectives. And one of the things that in CSA we teach our supervisors to do is really using our I6, which is ourself as instrument, using ourselves as a receptacle for possible informations that may not be even apparent out there. So I'm going to pause. Is there any questions? Anything else you'd like to share before I carry on? I'm aware this is not it's not like a straight webinar, so this is Facebook Live. I'm learning how to do this. So please keep it coming. I thought, we can talk a lot about what coaching supervision is, but perhaps what I'd like to share today is, first thing first, I need to say, the disclaimer. So these stories or these scenarios are made up and real at the same time, because I need to protect the confidentiality of all the people I work with. And yet over the 5 years of solid supervision, I've been working with groups and individuals, I see certain themes and patterns coming up. So I thought I'll share some real themes and patterns so that you get a sense of what we are talking about when we go into a supervision conversation. So one of the things that I notice is that in our Asia Pacific region, and I think worldwide, it's a phenomenon where we get into a project and we have multiple roles. So we may be, coaching someone, then we get into a facilitation role. Yeah, great, thank you. So, and then we go back into a coaching role. So actually, the same person, the same coach, is performing multiple roles. And of course, there is, the client-facing side where you need to manage the stakeholders, make sure that they are happy with the project. So again, it's a different role. And as a coach, because we can't say, oh, I'm going to split myself, I'm a coach now, we often interplay between different roles. And the ambiguity of these roles sometimes makes us, feeling like, did I really coach? Or am I supposed to be a coach? Am I supposed to be a trainer? Am I supposed to be a facilitator? So supervision is a space that we come into it and we talk about what was the contract that's being set up? What are the different activities that you're doing for this client? How are you contracting for each piece of work? And when I talk about each piece of work, it's not about, just training, but every conversation you go into, every session you go into, are you clear? Are we clear as a coach, our role? If I'm a facilitator, how do I, conduct the conversation with them? When I'm doing one-to-one coaching, what is my role? If I do a team coaching, what is my role again? There's like nuances and differences. So the ability to contract a safe space to work become conversation content in supervision, where we start to reflect and explore, oh, what does that mean? How are you feeling? How do you set up this conversation? So that's what some of the things we do in coaching supervision. Okay. And Andrea, you're going to ask, how do you fine tune our instruments? I will be doing yet another Facebook Live later on this year where I'll be talking about relational presence. But just a quick one on that is the only way we can get this instrument to be really sensitive and can pick up is to do reflection and to be aware of what's our stuff, how are we feeling, versus what are we picking up from the field or from the systems that the clients are bringing in. So it's a short answer. There's no silver bullet to it, but it's about building our own self-confidence and our self-awareness, tuning into our body, tuning into our our senses to really sharpen what we pick up during the session. This inevitably would also benefit your coaching, I'm sure. So Andrea, I hope that please continue this conversation with me on, at ACSM. We can chat about it, but that will be what I say the next webinar. So that's one situation. I'm just thinking we have about 3 more minutes. So I'll just share one more story, and then we'll probably have to end the capsule today. Wow, time flies. The other one I brought today is, let's see. But the other thing around ethics, let's stay there where we have multiple relationships. For example, we may be asked to go into an organization or a company to do some work. And we may know someone that is not in the program, not related to the program, probably is someone in sales or something. And how do we keep confidentialities? They will be saying, oh, how was the workshop you run for that person? What do we say? So these are some of the things that we get caught. It's one of those awkward things. It's like, do I say, do I not say? What can I say? So again, this is a potential piece that you bring into supervision. So that's just another small example. The other thing that is quite often we see is that coaches come out of a sessions, or they come into a supervision session and they say that, I don't think I've really, provided value. That's one of the very common comments I hear with my supervisees. And I don't think I really did a good job at supervision. So this is where we start to look at some of the derailers for an effective coaching conversation. This will go a little bit, will coincide with mentoring, because mentoring is also looking at how do you, keep up your competencies and how do you develop yourself as a coach. And one of the things that we often find, contracting is about 70% of the issues. Do you have a clear contract? Do you understand what the client's really expecting you to do? So that's one thing. And often it's like, yeah, I think I do. That's when I go, okay, is it what you think, or what exactly did the client say? What exactly was the conversation? That's where we get into, meaty discussions there. Thank you. That has resonated. The other thing is, a lot of us come into coaching saying, I want to help my clients. I want to, I want to add value. I want to make sure that they are supported. Nice, but when we overdo it, we might jump into the role of a rescuer, where we become, we start to be tempted to direct our questions. If they don't get a very clear action plan, we would start, self-doubt and judging ourselves. All that will happen. So that's also the thing, finding our position in finding or going back to the position we should take as a coach in a coaching conversation is also another place that we often have supervision around, because each conversation is different, each dynamic between the coach and the client is different. This is one of those things where if I ask a lot of coaches, they cognitively know it, but when you're having conversations and doing interactive, intimate work together, these dynamics will creep in. What you hope to provide or so fervently hope to achieve will come into the conversation. So with that, I'm going to pause here because I know I have about 20 minutes. Any comments for the session today? Any other questions? Yes, Simcho, thank you. Contracting as we play the different roles, you got that. Yeah. Okay, so I hope with this 20 minutes, I've given you a flavor of what coaching supervision is, and hopefully you see value. You care enough. I think that the way I like to put it is you care enough for your practice, for yourself as a professional coach, that you give yourself the gift of coaching supervision. And you can find loads and loads of good supervisors at ACSM, and there are other resources out there. Feel free to get in touch. But ACSM has a great panel of supervisors out there, which you can go and have a conversation about your practice. So I hope I care for my clients, I care for myself. I hope you do the same. So that's all I have for you tonight. Cheers. See you on the website. Bye.